This season so far has been one wild ride. Exciting finishes, crazy crashes, and of course, plenty of drama. Some of the biggest names in the sport are still waiting to pop the champagne. Tonight could be the night for them as these drivers take on America's premier short track. Tight turns, high speeds, and plenty of bumping. And it's all done under the lights. It's gonna be another exciting chapter as racing hits right now, only on Fox.
Tonight at Millbridge Speedway, it's the PGMF40, and along with the debut of the Busch Grand National Series. Tonight could be Jason Eford's night to win again. LJ McCleary looking promising the last couple of races, and Dan Ridenhour, as always, has been strong. Hello and welcome to another version of the DNQ Dirt Series. I'm Bob Duato here with Alan Beslick, and Alan, we're looking at race number 4 of the year, another night at Millbridge Racing.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's a beautiful night out, Bob. We got the 600s here tonight. Tons of fans, tons of spectators. The who's who of Charlotte, North Carolina here at the Millbridge Speedway tonight.
And we're looking at the beginning of the DNQ Busch Series tonight, and we have about 6 karts for tonight's race. Not a bad deal to start the season off, but I have a feeling this is going to grow.
Well, I would imagine the more the peasants see this, they will just flock to this shitty series.
I agree. Well, speaking of peasants, let's go down to Tony Stevens, who's down with one right now. Tony?
Everybody always has an underdog to cheer for in the DNQ Dirt Series, and Brad Buskirk, it looks like your budget for bolts to hold the body together has fallen through. How shoestring of a budget are you on this week for the PGMF40?
Well, since you're not a Pacific Grand Macro Financial employee, then you obviously wouldn't know what that is. Well, you know, you have a budget, and even if it's millions and millions of dollars, like the Buskirk Racing Team has, you have to allot that money in the smartest way to make the car go its fastest. And unfortunately, here in DNQ, the body work doesn't mean fucking anything. Because I mean, we're here. You're gonna beat it off. It's like at Bristol. You're gonna beat the fucking thing off in lap 5. You're just gonna be exploded done. And for us, we put the money into tires and the motor. That's where it counts.
You know, there was a report last week that a lot of that race fund actually went to your beer drinking fund. Is there any truth to that, and what do your sponsors have to say about that?
Like I said before, you have to allot the money where it makes you run the fastest. So sometimes a little bit of liquid courage is what it takes.
Is that going to be the liquid courage to get you to victory lane for the first time this season?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be the ticket right there.
You already hear Brad Buskirk going to end up in victory lane. He might need a couple of Busch ices in the process, but he's going to find a way to the front.
Well, as we see Tim Nye here, he is running all 3 races tonight, Micro, Busch, and Cup.
Well, when you're a badass like Tim Nye is, you're in demand, so he's out there for the money.
Well, we said before, you know, he has been such a good racer at this racetrack. He's got a very good feel for the track. And let's look at so far all of his wins in DNQ Dirt Series.
Yeah, he also has the balls it takes to run in the Cup Series, Bob.
You know, he's won a lot of these races as seen right here in this role, and just a lot of celebratory wins and a great racer.
Yeah, and he's as dirty as the rest of them, but that's what DNQ's all about.
Well, as we just saw, that's been Tim Nye's season so far, and he's got 4 wins so far in the series. He is the all-time wins leader of the series. What do you expect from him tonight?
I expect another strong run, Bob. GRP, the motor builder, he's really got his shit together. Tim Nye, fantastic race car driver. We're just going to see another Tim Nye show tonight, I think.
Well, Tim Nye definitely dominating in the series so far. And as we look at it right now, so we look at these stats right here. Alan, 4-time DNQ Dirt Series winner, most all-time, second in points last year, and that last part is very key.
Yeah, GRP Motorsports is the premier team in DNQ right now, and as long as you have the best driver like Tim Nye running for the best team like GRP, they're going to be unstoppable.
Tim Nye, like you said earlier, in demand, and one of those drivers, if you're going to come here to race him, you got to beat him. That's the man to beat. Well, Derek Perniciglio got down with Tim Nye earlier this afternoon.
Tim Nye has won here at the Millbridge Speedway many times in the past. He's doing triple duty here tonight. He's going to run a 600 micro sprint. He's going to run his regular DNQ dirt kart, but he's also going to run in the new division that they have for the DNQ series, the Busch series. And he's here tonight running, and it's a new engine on this kart, but how do you think it's going to run, Tim?
As fast as they'll go, I guess, because last night we finally practiced it, and it held it basically wide open around the track, and it was just hitting your groove and hitting your marks, and we don't know how it's going to go. We're just kind of hoping we get some karts and hoping this new series really grows, as it's a lot cheaper for the average racer to get into it and go to Harbor Freight, bolt the stock motor on, and go race.
With the engine horsepower at the range that it's at, how much different is it compared to driving your DNQ kart? What are some of the adjustments that you have to make as a driver?
It's a lot different. I feel like it's going to be about the one who can free the kart up the most to keep the speed up on the kart, you know. So versus 30 horsepower, probably 8, you know, so it's a lot different. You're just going to have to be really, really smooth and not bog the kart down anyway, because if you mess up a lap, it's going to take probably another half a lap just to get going.
Well, Tim Nye has been a very busy driver in the past couple of weeks. A few weeks ago, he ran an outlaw kart for the first time. He runs his 600 micro sprint. He also won at Rockfish Speedway over the weekend. He won the last time out in this kart in the DNQ series, and now he's going to try to do it again tonight here in the Busch series.
So as we were talking about the Busch Series earlier, and Tim in his interview mentioned the Busch Series race, which he is running tonight. Do you find that unfair that he's racing that Busch Series race tonight?
Tim Nye's a peasant at heart, so it's really fitting. You know, it's good to see a peasant that's made it be in the introduction of the series, because I think that's just going to get more peasants to flock and want to race against the greats like Tim Nye.
Well, you know that in any other kind of version of racing, when you can beat a cup driver, it makes your stock go up. And maybe we'll see that tonight. Do you think Tim Nye will get beat in the Busch race tonight?
I don't know. It depends on what kind of shit he's in. It's new for everybody, so it's gonna be a good race, and we'll see who's got what.
Well, we're going through the specifics of the series. Let's go down to Tony Stevens, who has more information on the series this year. Tony?
New this week at the PGMF40 is the DNQ Busch Series. And a couple of things that differentiate the Busch Series from the other karts that have been running the DNQ Dirt Series. The first of which you just had a look at, the gears. There is a spec gear rule in this class. Not only the back gear, the big gear that's on the axle that everybody sees, but this guy right here. This is called the driver gear, the driver tooth, some people would call it. This is on the clutch on the other side of the engine. This one, very important. You can make huge changes in gearing just by changing this little bad boy by one tooth. The next thing that's different on these karts is the engine. This is a Predator engine, straight from our friends at Harbor Freight Tools. Very cheap engine, very inexpensive, and very friendly for budget racing. These things are $100 or $150, depending which sale and which coupon you catch. There's a claim rule in this series. Therefore, any Joe can walk up and down through here and say, hey, I want that engine. Here's my money. You've got to give it to me. Keeps the racing affordable, keeps the racing equal. It's going to put on a great show. It's a great entry level for the DNQ Dirt Series. The other thing that helps to equalize everything, well, first off, there's Busch beer for the Busch Series. Then you have the Maxxis ELs. These tires, extremely hard, very, for lack of a better term, plasticky. It's very hard to prep these tires. You can work them, you can do different things to them, but it's very hard to get any major advantage working these Maxxis EL tires. So between the engine, the tires, and the spec gear rule, it's all about the man that's on the wheel and who has the biggest pair to get around the Millbridge Speedway. We're going to have fun watching the Busch Series. They'll have a couple of special broadcasts this season, but there's something everybody's watching at the track in addition to the DNQ Dirt Series here tonight.
Well, the karts are rolling out for the DNQ Busch Series, and we're excited to debut the series here.
Are we? Really? Excited?
Well, the Peasant Series is coming up right after these messages.
Every day you wake up and wonder, is this going to be it? Is this going to be the day? The day it all clicks. The day you break through. The day you stand out above the rest. The day everyone remembers who you are. The day you stop wondering if you belong here. Is this going to be the day?
Welcome back to Millbridge. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Busch Grand National Race. In row 1, it's Josh Heidenkamp and Derek Nunley.
Row number 2, Timmy Nye and Austin Weinrich.
Row number 3, in our final row for tonight, Eddie DeHaan Jr. in the 75 for Chad Arnder, and Andy Hunter. His engine would not start, so hopefully he gets his ass out of the track on time.
Yeah, what the big surprise is Timmy Nye is not starting on the pole. What less of a surprise is Eddie DeHaan is starting dead fucking last with the Brute in-car.
The Brute in-car camera, always smelling good, and we'll maybe get some action from this thing if he's worth a shit. Well, there is the number 10 there of Austin getting out here trying to make it right before we take the green here, and you will notice the sound difference in these compared to the Cup carts.
Yeah, these don't have any power at all. They run a really hard tire. Look at how fucking terribly slow these things are.
Green flag, we are underway, and Derek Nunley trying to get underneath Josh Heidkamp, and it almost looks like the top is where you want to be here.
Yeah, for some reason here tonight at Millbridge, the top is a good lane, and you can see how bad the bottom there is for Josh.
Yeah, Tim Nye already making his way up to third, and maybe he'll be a force to be reckoned with as this race goes on. And you see right now, these guys do not have much power.
No, they are slow as shit, and especially Tim Nye, who's backing up the field third, fourth, fifth, and sixth there.
Josh Heidkamp runs Cup, but he has not been very competitive in the Cup Series. But looks like with this rules package, as Nunley goes to the inside and Heidkamp tries to hold him off.
Yeah, but there you see the outside lane working again for Josh Heidkamp. I think you have to keep these motors wound up. That's why the top is working so good for Josh Heidkamp.
Heidkamp, like I was saying earlier before that move was made, runs mid-pack in the Cup Series. So do you think this is good to watch him show his talents here as we get going?
I think it's good for him to get seat time as long as he doesn't get worn out. I compare him to an Eric Almirola, a very mid-pack Busch driver that just runs like shit in Cup.
Nunley up to that back bumper again with Heidkamp. We'll see what he does to try to make the move. And, man, these guys are wheeling the shit out of it for it just being a slow cart like this.
Yeah, I think Josh has a little bit more speed, but he can't seem to hit the same line for 2 laps in a row to save his life.
You look at these carts right now, a lot slower than the series, and it's follow the leader basically right now. We're seeing a little bit of disparity, which we didn't think that we'd see, as Austin comes up there into third place already. He's flying. He started in the back.
Yeah, Bob, I would really like to see a throttle trace for these carts because I think they are wide open throttle the whole lap.
Wide open indeed. And let's go down to our technical director real quick. JW, what do you think about these guys holding this thing wide open?
Now, the biggest difference I'm seeing here is the talent is about as low as the budgets here in this series. We got some ringers that come down from Cup and try to beat up on these people, and the talent difference is apparent. Granted, they're running low horsepower junk engines, they're running hard plastic Lego junk tires, and they don't have the talent to make up for the low budgets and the low equipment. I think that's the biggest difference you're seeing right now.
We saw Nunley just pull off the racetrack. It looks like he had an engine issue, and that's something that we don't really see in this series. Maybe it wasn't an engine.
Yeah, I mean, it's no telling. It might be an engine, Bob, because he was right up there, and then he started to drop back, and when an engine gets sick, it starts to lose power, and you slow down.
Tim Nye jumping that left rear. He is struggling, and that's something that we did not expect to see.
Tim Nye hates to lose, and I think he's starting to get desperate. Here we are, Eddie DeHaan's in-car camera, the brute essence of man.
Tim Nye's all the way up top, and I don't know if he's gaining ground on him or not, but, he's in this Chad Ardner cart, and they are indeed some tire pressure, and doesn't seem to be working out for him.
Yeah, well, you saw the bottom work really well for Eddie right there. I wonder if Tim Nye has a problem, because the bottom's kind of sucked.
Yeah, and you see the track's a little bumpy. I don't know if he just shoved him in the fence there or not, but Austin Weinrich right there, he is a driver from Casey Kane's team, and he is right there. He works with Josh Heidkamp, Mike Carver, and Ty Sipes, all Cup regulars.
Yeah, I mean, calling him a driver is really giving him a lot of credit. I don't think anybody in this class is a driver by any means, but it's good to see him, get a top 5 when there's only 6 carts.
75 cart of Eddie DeHaan Jr. That's a venture where he supplies the engine and tires, and Chad Arnder, who owns that team, supplies the cart for him, and startup team there.
You've seen these partnerships work really well in the lower series, which is NASCAR, and it looks like it's really working well for him tonight.
Well, we'll be right back.
He's out there. There's a guy out there who's making his own run at glory. Making a name for himself in a sport where your name and maybe a number are what define you. Maybe they're in the back of the pack. Maybe they're stalking the leader down the home stretch, waiting to pounce, waiting to make that first move toward becoming a legend. Make no mistake about it, they're out there. I guarantee it. Welcome.
Well, welcome back, and Tim Nye has pulled his shit box off the racetrack.
I think it's about time. He's given up.
Well, if you can't win, you might as well park the motherfucker, huh?
Yeah, just ask Tyler Young.
Well, caution's out for that, and that is our 5 to go. Caution, green flag, and oh God, hand out the soda.
Somebody's on the grape soda.
Eddie Don Jr. trying to make the move to run into second place, and he's right behind Adam Wanrich as Austin tries to make the move, and he will. That 10 card has been strong all night.
Yeah, but Josh Heidkamp is absolutely making everybody else look like fools.
He's strolling them right now, and you see the 10 and the 4 and the 75. This is what this series is about.
Oh, and Eddie Dodd Jr. jumping left rears.
Oh my goodness, that was pretty good. Surprised the nose is still left on it, but you know what? Nobody's gonna catch Josh Heidkamp, I don't think, unless somebody pulls something out of their ass here.
Yeah, or unless he fucks up, but he's been spot on the whole race, Bob. It's really great to see a peasant, be out front for the whole time.
Absolutely. It's good to see. This is what this series is about. You get somebody out here who can showcase their talents who maybe don't have as much engine as everybody else in the Cup Series.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he actually is a good driver and he just has really shitty equipment in Cup. We've seen that happen before.
Josh Heidkamp out there on his own. Unless he absolutely screws this up, he is going to come home and take the win. Congratulations, Josh, the first ever DNQ Busch Grand National winner. All right. Well, he was taking a sip as Josh takes his victory lap. Let's go down to victory lane.
Well, Josh Heidkamp comes home the winner here this afternoon, or I should say this evening, here at the Millbridge Speedway in the DNQ Karting Series. The first race for the new Busch Series division comes home the winner here, and when a stock block, not a bad run for you. You had the fastest car out there. How was it?
Not bad. I'm definitely not used to being up front, but guys did real good back there. Can't thank my sponsors enough. Lone Star Pawn Shop, Dave Jessup Racing did a real good job, and that's a real sponsor, by the way.
How important was starting position here tonight? Because it seemed like the closer you started up near the front, the better your chances were of winning.
Oh, it definitely was key. If you were in the back, I honestly don't think you had a chance. But we did real good. Start at the end with 5 laps to go. I was really had to nail that one. I was kind of nervous, but ended up pulling it out and come out with a W.
Well, history was being made here this evening. Josh Heidkamp becomes the first driver ever to win a DNQ Karting Series Busch Series race.
Well, Josh Heidkamp takes home the first ever Busch Grand National Series race. Good win for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see a peasant really get a win.
Did you see him right there drinking the Busch Ice right behind us, actually? You can see that right there. And great job. Congratulations, Josh. All right, well, the drivers pushing their carts out to the front stretch. And for this race, we're going to have some driver intros.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this, Bob. The DNQ Series is really stepping it up. Here we see the entry to the racetrack, and somebody looks out of place there.
Yeah. Eric Maycroft coming back to the series after missing a couple of races. Good to see him back in the series. And there it is, the Brad Buskirk machine. Doesn't have bolts in the fenders.
Yeah, they almost wrecked getting on the track. That's really no surprise.
So you see Jason Eford and David Markham talking to each other about the track, and we're getting ready to go here. I'm excited to see what happens tonight. We know that 3 and 4 is a little rough, and that might change some of the driving styles.
Yeah, it looked like Jason Eford was explaining his own line right off the racetrack to David Markham there. But there's the trophy, ladies and gentlemen, the Busch Ice.
That's the best-looking trophy girl we can get in this series. Jared Barana was kind enough to bring the Busch Ice down to victory lane. That is the most important job right there in the whole series.
That's what everybody's racing for. That's it.
You know, we would have regular Busch, but Busch Ice is cheaper.
Yeah, like probably $1 maybe. But that's what it's about.
Who will take home the Busch Ice tonight in victory lane? We'll be right back after these messages.
Out here, a man isn't measured by where he started.
Up out of turn 4, takes the rumble win!
Champions one race at a time.
All right, well, welcome back to Millbridge Speedway. Carts lined up on the front stretch, and we are minutes away from the start of this race.
Yeah, as you see there, we walked in, complete shit to the fastest, and Timmy and I on the pole. No surprise there.
Will it be Josh Heidkamp tonight going 2 for 2, or Akinori Ogata, making his debut? Dan Ridenhour, another driver looking for the win. David Markham has been strong as of late, and Tim Nye, the main man in this series. We're going to find out here in just a few moments. Let's go down to Derek.
Well, one of the issues that some of the drivers may be facing tonight at the Millbridge Speedway during this event are the bumps that are building up on the bottom. Now, if you look through this corner right here, you see all these little irregularities in the track and all these little ruts here and there. Now, they may not look like much because they're maybe only an inch, 2 inches deep, but when you're riding 1 inch off the ground with tires that are about 6 inches in diameter with no suspension, you feel every little nook and cranny in this racetrack, and that throws the cart around. It affects the handling. So, some of the drivers that are racing here tonight, they're going to have to be able to negotiate this corner as best as they can to get through some of these bumps.
All right, you've got your shit together. You're ready to rock. Drivers putting their stuff on. What is going through your mind right now?
Oh, you could cut the tension with a knife on the grid, Bob. This is, I mean, you saw the intros. Everybody's lined up on the front stretch. This is the PGMF40. You get pussy after this race.
You better bring your A game when you come here tonight, because this racetrack is fast, and it's going to change a lot as we get going through this race.
Yeah, and there you see Dan Ridenhour looking good as always, ready to get after it.
Jason Eford, the Miltona 50 champion in the Kuhn family racing cart tonight, running that number for owner's points.
Yeah, let's see if he could do any better than Tim Kuhn, because he didn't run worth a fuck all year.
Well, we had a great race here last time. Let's go back and revisit it.
Highs in the 70s, the sun will break out, weather outstanding.
Tonight will be a great night of speed, endurance, and unpredictability.
Which driver will be the first to lose his temper?
Got a little hole to dig. We got the right attitude, the right car, right driver, right pit crew to make it happen.
Ready, 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 ready. Green flag, green flag.
Rolling, green flag.
Back, still inside.
I got something screwed up at 80 funny. This is embarrassing.
Bob, go down there and tell that stupid Rick is if I get to him today.
All these that want to race hard, I'm going to race the out of them.
Right rear screaming at me. Sideways.
I don't know why I can't drive it for a lap.
Yellow's out. Yellow, 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 yellow.
This changes everything.
It's these two drivers to settle it.
Right in his tire tracks. Pulls up on the back bumper.
Got a little run. He's in line half.
3 cars under a blanket for the lead.
Got to give it everything he's got, and maybe a little bit more right now.
Clear. That's right. Schoolie's.
Boss man, you're buying tonight.
Woo! Awesome job. Yes!
Really, really good job. That had to be a good show to watch. Man, I'm telling you, these kinds of tracks are just fantastic, man. It had to be good on TV.
Well, driver Skip Flores gave the command to fire up the engines, and we are ready to go.
What an honor to have him here in the starter's stand. I can't wait to have him commentate this whole race. The fans are going to be on their feet. This is one hell of an exciting time there, Bob.
Great lineup of racers there. Eric Maycroft, another great racer. Brad Buskirk ready to go. LJ McCleary and the rest of the field. But as we're looking at these guys, what a better time than to look at the starting lineup for the PGMF40. And in row 1, we've got Timmy Nye and Matt Holzbauer.
And row number 2, we have Jason Eford and Corey Ingelston.
Row number 3 is going to feature David Markham, who's been on quite of a tear lately, and Dan Ridenhour.
Row number 5, Eric Maycroft, one of our favorites, and Brad Buskirk. Let's see if he makes all the laps.
Row number 5, LJ McCleary and Eddie DeHaan Jr.
Row number 7, somebody and Josh Heidkamp.
That is Akinori Ogata and making his first DNQ start. And as always, the brute in-car camera of Eddie DeHaan Jr. Well, here we go. The PGMF40. Let's see who's got the biggest sack getting into one.
And Holzbauer gets shit-canned on the start. And, ooh, we see Timmy Nye going side by side with Eford there, old teammates.
Jason Eford driving for Kuhn Family Racing. He's got to do all he can to keep that car up in owner's points and himself in the points.
Wow, look at the track, Bob. That looks like garbage down the bottom. They're running the middle, and we saw that in the Busch race. Maybe the middle top is the better line.
Oh, we have got a spin over here up in turn 4. Looks like it was Jason Eford went around there.
Yeah, no surprise there. That's a move he's used to, Bob.
Let's take a look at that again in the Lead to Real Estate Group instant replay, and looks like he steps on his wiener there over the bumps.
Yep, lost it all by himself. Nothing new.
Yeah, well, that's a tough break for Eford, and hopefully he can get his shit back together and get going. You know what? He was running fairly decent there. He's been fast all night, so maybe he can get right back up there. And back under the restart, Tim Nye, as always, up front.
Yep, and who the hell is that in second? Engelston. Yeah, Engelston trying to chase him down. You see Brad Buskirk and Dan Ridenhour fighting it out for third. Looks like Buskirk, he might be getting tired already. To the inside, and another caution, Bob.
Caution is out on the speedway again, and this time it is Jason Eford. Once again, his cart has come to a stop on the entry of turn number 3. Not sure what the problem is, but we saw our flagman there, Kyle McGowan, and we talked to him earlier today.
It is a lot of fun to be around all these drunks. It's just to see them go crazy and all their craziness all night long and shake a black flag at them a few times and just have at it, boys. This is different specifically because the drivers are crazy as hell, and they just like to go out there and have a little fun. They've been working in their big NASCAR shops all week long, and at this point, they're trying to go out there, hang loose, and have some fun. So when you're up there flagging a bunch of crazy drunk people, it's a little bit different.
And now we got to get into one of the more important questions of the week. Was how many swipe lefts did you get on Tinder?
I had a few swipe lefts today. Most of my swipe lefts come on the weekend when I'm home bored.
Well, that's Kyle McGowan. He's the flagman here at the Millbridge Speedway, the Tinder Love Bandit, as we like to call him, and he's got nice tits.
Well, tough break for Eford. Looks like the clutch is gone on that Kuhn Family Racing go-kart.
Yeah, apparently it's just the Kuhn Family Racing team that's complete shit, because we know Jason Eford, the Miltona 50 winner, can get it done.
Well, we are back underway here, and looks like the top 4 are going to be the class of the field for this race. And maybe you could add David Markham into that mix.
Yeah, he's leading the second pack, but it's still early. He's got plenty of time to drag that second pack back up to the front.
With this here tonight, we've got it spread apart. We may see a long green flag run as we see Eddie DeHaan Jr. and Eric Maycroft racing the shit out of each other here.
Yeah, well, with these two racing, we might see a lot of yellows, so I wouldn't put that past him, Bob.
And another caution. This time it is Akinori Ogata. His cart comes to a stop off of turn 3. Tough break for him. He has run some K&N Pro Series races and in the Truck Series. Good to see him down here tonight trying to get some laps.
Yeah, it's good to see him step up to the more Premier Series. It's a shame, it's a startup team. Maybe he just needs some more laps to get the bugs worked out.
Yeah, he's new to kart racing, so hopefully he comes back and joins us again. And back underway here, Tim Nye showing the way, followed by Corey Engelston, Dan Ridenhour, and Brad Buskirk as they go down into 1.
Yeah, there you see David Markham in 5th, and Buskirk maybe making the move, but getting drug on the straightaway by Dan Eisenhower.
Now, we heard earlier, I don't know how true it is, but Dan Ridenhour's engine builder, Jim Farmer, who's a great guy I know him personally, Jim said, from what I hear, that he said there is no way Tim Nye's winning all these races this year. If he's got to build an engine himself to make sure Ridenhour wins, he's going to do it.
I'm excited because Ridenhour, he's got the fire. He's like a little pit bull, a white trash pit bull. He'll take it to Tim Nye.
You know what? I love Dan Ridenhour. He is probably one of my most favorite drivers in the series as we're on board Eddie DeHaan Jr. race with LJ McCleary. And Engelston's sinking like a rock here. I wonder what his problem is. Looks like he's pretty tight. He's got a lot of wheel input.
Yeah, you see him there trying to kick it sideways to get some rear steer in that thing. But Buskirk's really taking it to him. You know he can't get it done.
JW, what do you think's causing Engelston to lose so many spots down here?
Guys, I just don't think he's worth the fuck. I think they got the front end settings off. He's bouncing the splitter off the racetrack, letting air get underneath it, making the cart junk.
Well, thanks, JW, as we see that could be an issue for him, and we do have another issue on track. Looks like our Busch Series winner, Josh Heidkamp, is stopped at the entrance of 3.
Yeah, it looks like nothing's changed for him in the Cup Series, but it's nice to see him get a good ride in the Busch Series.
You know, he had the win tonight. Let's go side by side here and listen and see what happened there with Tony.
I can't steer. I made it too tight. I can't steer it at all.
Well, that's a tough break for Josh Heidkamp. Out tonight with handling issues. You don't see that often.
Yeah, handling issues, driver fatigue, all those are for the no driving fucks, and it looks like our Busch Series winner is still a peasant.
Well, looking at the rest of this field, it is stringing out pretty good, and looks like Ridenhour's starting to creep his way up towards the front, making the move on Buskirk, and Engelston is starting to fall back. Holzbauer had a flat tire earlier, went and got a new tire on it. You do not go a lap down in this series, and he is flying through this field right now.
Yeah, he's got a hoss of an engine. I don't know who his engine builder is, but they're on their shit right now because we all know Holzbauer is 10th place at best, and all he did was go replace the tire.
Good to see Holzbauer back out in this series. We know that he's got a new engine in that kart as Tim Nye leads the way here. You know, we touched early on him and his dominance here. Do you think it's all those laps in the micro and the Busch car and all that shit that's making it better for him to against his competition?
Maybe, but it looks like here in Cup you gotta run a little bit of different line than the micro. It looks like the micro really fucked up the bottom for everybody. But Tim Nye's just a hell of a wheelman.
Going back in the field, Ridenhour there in second, third, and there, dude, I'm telling you, Holzbauer's coming, and he's flying through this field right now.
He's coming all over Engelston, everywhere.
Yeah. You know, a nice new paint scheme on that kart, isn't it? And, yeah. Man, I am very surprised to see Holzbauer digging as much as he is, and not coming soon here. He might be up to second place. It's glad to see somebody else have something for Tim Nye.
Yeah, that nice new bodywork isn't going to last till the end of the race if he's near the front.
As we're going green here, we're going to go stop for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm jumping left rears like it's my job. You're watching the DNQ Dirt Series on Speed.
How oftentimes we hear the praises sung of wealthy men.
But you very seldom hear them sing of the honest working man.
His hands may be both rough and hard, his clothes and speech be plain.
But you will find his manly heart without a spot or stain.
Let us give 3 cheers with right goodwill for the honest working man.
Welcome back to Salisbury. We see David Markham putting the heat on Brad Buskirk. These two have been racing the shit out of each other during the commercial break.
Yeah, David Markham really stepping it up here. The last few races, he's really impressed me, Bob. You see him there. He got in the left rear of Buskirk, but he's really making gains in here.
Matt Holzbauer up to second. He's coming for Tim Nye.
I can't wait to see this. They're going to go toe-to-toe, side-by-side if Ridenhour doesn't take him out first. And a problem. He's got a problem.
Son of a bitch. Man, he was running worth a fuck, too. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, first time in his career. You know, he's just going to have to, whatever problem it is, I can't see any flat tires, but whatever problem he's got.
He's dragging the chain there. I'm not sure what he's got going on. Hopefully he can get that fixed and go right back out, though.
Yeah, but with a motor with that much horsepower, he might have ripped the chain right apart.
That is true. Let's see. Oh, the engine's loose. You see the engine bouncing right there? Oh, man. Dude, that's such shit luck. He has had shitty luck. Every time you think he's going to win a race, something bad happens.
But, Bob, that comes down to preparation. And when you're nut and bolting your car with a handful of Busch ice, sometimes you don't get all the bolts tight.
I believe that, and I have lived through that myself. Well, caution's out. Let's go down to old JW. Jay, what's going on down there?
We heard some of the drivers talking earlier about taking the bolts out of their bodywork to try to increase that downforce. Now, they don't want that grip down up high. They want that grip down low in the racetrack. Getting that grip, getting that bite, that side force off the turn so they can dig, and get to that finish line first. I think tires are going to be the key to winning that race, getting that grip down low in the tires. Thanks, Bob.
We are back under green. Do you think everybody's saving their shit for the 5 to go, or is it just time to go now to get in a good spot?
It doesn't look like it. They're side by side for third, and Engelston quick, twitchy.
Eddie DeHunt Jr. was right in the middle of that. Let's go on board with him, and looks like he's learned something from following these guys a little bit.
Yeah, and smelling good, too, in the brute essence of man in car. A little bit of yaw there from Buskirk. It doesn't look like he can quite keep up. He might have burned his shit apart.
As we see, Engelston now racing with Markham, and he was sinking like a rock before. Do you think his shit's come in finally?
You know, with all these cautions, he might have been able to cool his tires down and really get the pressures back to where they belong, and he's firing off again. Look at him.
We see the lap times are changing tremendously just from the start of the race to right now. We're about 0.3 of a second faster, and there is our competition caution. All right, Alan, 5 laps to go here. Who do you got?
Oh, I got David Markham. He's the underdog. He's going to get it. This is his first win.
I'm going to have to go with Daniel Eisenhower. He'll do anything to win.
Yeah, he's definitely on the red track, just like I am.
Well, let's see how this plays out down here, guys. Well, here we go. 5 to go. Green flag. We're underway, and get ready to see some shit.
Yeah, here we go. We got the top 5 all neck and neck. And Eggleston, shit cans, Ridenhour from behind. Buskirk to the inside. They're 3 wide at the 3. They're side by side. Eggleston gets
He
killed.
makes contact with Buskirk. The rest of the field scrambles. Maycroft into the wall. Yeah. Holy shit.
Wow, what
Wow,
a
we knew it was coming, but let's go ahead and look at it again in the Elite 2 Real Estate Group instant replay. Buskirk says, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Eisenhower got the grape soda out and just dive bombed him with shit-canned Eggleston, and you see everybody getting stacked up. Maycroft completely losing it by himself. Eddie DeHaan Jr., David Markham all involved. Ooh, that's a hard hit by Maycroft. You can see him hump the steering wheel there for a minute.
Hard contact for Maycroft. Let's look at it again from another angle. Brett just makes contact with Eggleston's left rear, and the rest of the ship plays out. DeHaan nowhere to go. Maycroft nowhere to go. They make hard contact. Maycroft hits the wall pretty friggin' hard.
Well, you heard Buskirk earlier in that commercial. He's jumping left rears like it's his job, and there it is.
Tough hit for Eric Maycroft, and let's go on board with Eddie DeHaan Jr. as he starts to check up, and Maycroft hits his left rear pretty good.
He was already in trouble, though. Everybody was stacked up in front of him. That was just going to be, that's the big one right there, Bob.
Shit happens so fast at this racetrack, especially something like that where you're all bunched up. You see Eric Maycroft hit the wall, and looks like DeHaan's going to park it flat left rear.
Yeah, well, he should have parked it fucking years ago.
Well, here we go. We're back underway. Green flag, only 4 laps to go. Let's see what happens here.
Look at that. There's the 4 best cars still on track. You got Eggleston and Ridenhour. Shit cans Tim Nye.
Shit cans Tim Nye to the lead. Dan Ridenhour.
And it looks like Brad Buskirk got shit canned by 2 drivers at once. Here we go. We got the 2 grapefruit soda drinking motherfuckers to the lead.
Eggleston makes the move. He goes, and he shoves Ridenhour on the wall. Leaves room for Tim Nye, who takes the lead.
And Tim Nye, he's pulling away now. Let's see if Eggleston can get it back if Buskirk don't keep the pressure on him. Ridenhour to the inside of Buskirk makes it look easy.
I cannot believe that move, and I can't believe white flag is out. What a freaking race. Buskirk trying to make the move on Dan Ridenhour, but nothing's going to matter. Tim Nye, for the 5th time in his career, takes home the PGMF40 win.
What a finish, Bob. I think that might have been the best finish I've... Ooh, and Eggleston has words with Tim Nye.
Congratulatory talking about that finish, but the driver who finished 3rd is down with Tony Stevens.
Dan Ridenhour, there was a lot of words said in Victory Lane and after Victory Lane, for that matter, about the way you drove everyone in the top 3. Why'd you drive them like you do? A lot of people felt it was a little dirty.
Hey, I'm just trying to win the race. Do what I got to do. I didn't really have nothing for him. I had 1 shot, and I took it. Take it how you want to.
Does this mean that you expect to get raced maybe the same way going forward, or you're going to be able to do the same thing, whatever it takes to win?
Hey, it's fine with me. It is what it is.
Dan Ridenhour, man, a few words, and apparently the frustration is getting to him, having finished runner-up, 3rd, about every spot except 1st in the DNQ karting series.
I'm going to go ahead and defend Daniel Eisenhower right there because he's doing what he's got to do to win. Everybody's sick of watching Tim Nye win these races. I can't blame him at all.
I love that son of a bitch. If I was in his seat, I would have done the same damn thing.
You know what? He didn't do it good enough, Dan. Next time you do it good enough to make sure that son of a bitch don't finish these fucking races. I also have to say that Corey Eggleston came right up behind him and got a piece of him there, too.
It's really good to see him finally make it all the way through the race. I mean, he's had good, solid runs, but he's had motor trouble. He's had tire trouble. People's ripped his body off. Like, it's really good to see him run up front and finally get the finish he deserves.
Well, it's good to see some people pressuring Tim Nye, but let's go down to our 2nd place finisher.
Well, it looks like Corey Eggleston is going to hold on to his points lead here at the Millbridge Speedway tonight in the DNQ karting series. A good run for you. Almost came out with the win. Can you describe your run tonight?
It was good. We went with a set of tires we weren't sure about. But this type of racing, you get a late race caution, so that's when it counts. We had it. It was all right. Had a little rough up Ridenhour and Nye over there in 3, but thought I had it. 2nd place is good from what we had. I got to thank Irvin Johnson and Dwayne at CKI.
Chloe.
That's about it.
Looks like everyone got really super aggressive on that last restart. Guys were pushing and shoving each other all over. What goes through your mind at that point? Do you get mad? Do you want to get some payback, or are you just trying to get back to the front?
Well, you can't get mad. I mean, everybody wants to outrun the 42. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's all Rubbins racing and good racing, so it's all good. It's all out of good fun. No hurt, no harm.
Well, Corey Ingelston had a good time here tonight. He's hanging out with his little lady, and everybody had a good time.
Let's look at this again real quick. Alan, Eisenhower doing all he can to win this race.
Well, he said in his pre-race interview he wanted to win, and his motor builder wanted to win. He didn't want Timmy Nye to get one more at all.
Let's go down to victory lane.
In Busch Ice Victory Lane with Tim Nye. Tim, once again, you are victorious in the DNQ Dirt Series, but this one was not nearly as clean. What happened in that final 5-lap shootout?
Every time they're trying to throw something at me in the last 5 laps, and they're starting to get a little dirty with it. So we'll get dirty back, and it was all clean, though, in the end. I'll race anybody how they race me, and I know right now he wants to win just as bad as anybody, and he'll run you like every lap is his last. So I respect that.
It looks like everybody's getting closer and closer to the speed you have. Do you guys have to go back to the shop and do a little bit of work on this thing? Because it looks like maybe next race you could be beaten the way that last 5 laps went.
The motor carried us that one for sure because the tires were off. We were probably a 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch, too less stagger in the rear, not enough, and it was tight. I really had to pitch it going in. The first 10 laps we were kind of terrible, and I adjusted how I drove it, and it was still fast. So, but yeah, really. Where's the mic? Where's the mic? Oh, you got it? I really wanted to win that race just to tell everybody Darcy's pregnant. Darcy's preggo. Woo! We got a little racer on the way. 42X is on the way.
That's big news, Tim. Why'd you choose to tell us here in Victory Lane?
I don't know. I figured that's the best way to tell anybody any news is at the racetrack and being where I feel the most comfortable, really. And also, too, my dad is going through a rough time. Just found out he had cancer, so we're all pulling for him. And this one is for you, Dad, too. So, hell yeah.
Very emotional win for Tim Nye. For multiple reasons, he ends up in Busch Ice Victory Lane, and he gets to sip the spoils of the beer here tonight.
Well, Timmy Nye finished first tonight, but his brothers got it done before him. Congratulations, Timmy Nye, on his baby.
Well, let's look at these final results. Nye, Ingelston, Ridenhour, Markham, Buskirk, McCleary, Maycroft, DeHaan, and Holzbauer. That one had to hurt Heidkamp and 10.
Yeah, top 5, man. It could have been anybody.
And let's look at the Dirt Series standings. This is without the drop races, so Ingelston still in the lead, Nye second. Buskirk and Markham, those are the 2 rookie contenders we're watching.
Wow, Timmy Nye second with a drop still. Oh, look, he's really far ahead now, Timmy Nye and Ingelston.
When you put the drop races in, this is what you get now. We're looking at that rookie battle there. This is dropping your worst finish, and you see how right there that rookie championship is going to be one to watch. Well, what a great night we had of racing. Josh Heidkamp takes home the first ever Busch Grand National Series race, and the Cup race saw one of the best finishes and a lot of action we've seen in a while.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next race, Bob. I hope it's anything. I hope it's half as good as this.
Well, the Busch Series will be back. The DNQ Cup Series will be back in action once again in June. Guys doing all they can to win, and hopefully as we get going down here with the Busch Series and the Chase, we're going to see the same kind of action.
Oh, yeah, people coming for Timmy Nye. Somebody's already beat him in the Busch Series.
Well, Tim Nye, they're coming for you. We'll see you next race.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
This has been a production of the DNQ Karting Series. Any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this race without the express written consent of the DNQ Karting Series is prohibited. The DNQ Karting Series would like to thank its fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.